4, 3, 2, 1. So, title of the book is Asking for It, a novel approach. Haha, it's a novel. Asking for It was written between November 2012 and roughly the same month 2 years later. In any case, tells the story of one young woman's fine-tuning her identity, largely in response to the amorous attentions of a pair of middle-aged men, both of whom are somewhat at sea in an ethos of contemporary male masochism. Also, by the way, a reworking of the myth of Pygmalion, a Roman myth, the ending of which I've never been particularly content with. Asking for It, a novel approach. Part 1, Knock 'em Down. Chapter 1. Pillows of precipitation are massing over the ocean, not far offshore, as if skidding to a halt, shy of encountering humanity. Lance Abierti slaloms his Panamera along the coast road. The trip back home to Miami would go too quickly on the interstate. He's taking his time, savoring his experience of Michaela in the flesh. An hour earlier, in a scabrous neighborhood on the outskirts of Fort Pierce, he'd cut the Porsche's ignition and sat for a moment, struck by the novelty of his new venture. From the car's sleek confines, he saw Michaela, for the first time, sitting on a rickety porch swing with a guy he would come to know as the Edge. He'd discovered her in a stroke of luck. It was Sunday morning, exactly a week ago now. He had an idle minute or two waiting on his espresso maker to deliver. The name of his agency was misspelled on a dubious envelope that arrived unsolicited at his home address. He snipped it open anyway. Was he taking chances? Wasn't this just how the disgruntled psychopaths of the world had their revenge? Out sprang a DVD. A covering note described it as edgy, adult, and action-packed. If his 17-inch Pro hadn't been sat there with an empty drive slot, he would have tossed the whole package into the vintage chrome canister, along with his grapefruit rinds and coffee grounds. Lighting and decor were not promising. Fluorescent tubes hung beneath exposed ceiling joists. Armored cabling snaked from each to the next. The room was unfinished, unpainted drywall, seams and splotches of plaster. A concrete floor, mostly covered with interlocking squares of dense foam rubber matting. The rear wall was a windowless metal garage door. A pristine heavy bag hung in one corner, the space otherwise devoid of furnishings. 0.00.05 seconds. Zoom in on the punching bag. Slide transition to some shirtless guy in his early 40s. Slide back to the heavy bag. Very amateur. Very iMovies. 0.00.10 seconds. Still, no idea what this shit is about. Lance is giving up. He gives it another 10 seconds before he hits eject. Then it hits him. Or rather, she hits him. 20-something, brawny, brunette bombshell. Mischievous grin, eyes inviting, simultaneously challenging the viewer's response to some off-color joke. 0.00.11 seconds. A frozen frame, and Lance stops counting time. Makala. The dreadful sans-serif font scrolled too slowly across the screen, obscuring, then revealing anew her features. Reanimated, the fetching face spun away from the camera in a blur of chestnut hair. She was wearing black stretch workout shorts and a black t-shirt abbreviated to reveal midriff, prizefighter biceps, and bedroom eyes. And her punching bag. the dreadful sans serif font again. The shirtless guy was back in the frame, standing immobile, hands at his sides. Michaela circled him, making playful feints, lunging taunts. Finally, she dropped her gloves and turned to saunter off, only to wheel around and land a powerful sucker punch to the side of the guy's head. Lance would soon recognize this as a signature Michaela maneuver. Lance Abierti, 50 years of age, successful producer-agent, became instant fanboy. He decided right then he would sign a career-making deal for this babe with the bully swagger. He'd seen a lot of stage punches. The grit of this low-budget footage and the performer's obvious candor were utterly convincing, a little disturbing even. He experienced a lurch in his stomach as the big girl's elbow connected with the guy's nose. There would be blood. But that, of course, was a good thing. She had that rock star's brand of subversive appeal. The mean and provocative came across as plain sexy. Between the video's relentless jump cuts, shirtless guy was subjected to several more savage blows, kicks and punches both. Some were dealt covertly. For most, the guy stared straight into the punishment. His hands never came up for protection. Abrasions blossomed over his face. Michaela bounced back and forth, boxer style, picking her openings as if this stiff was a worthy opponent in a genuine fight. Sharp, sibilant exhalations emphasized the exertion of her strikes. Taking a break to adjust the Velcro on the backs of her fingerless leather gloves, Michaela paced to and fro, maintaining her momentum. "Having fun yet, sweetums? I hit hard, huh?" She'd come in close, staring him down. "But you like that shit, don't you?" The camera approached the man's muscular back, peered over his shoulder at Michaela's mocking half-smile. "You sick puppy." For an instant, her focus flashes past the punching bag to her viewer. It is a strange and enervating moment. He'd been addressed directly. Lance's sense of spectatorship was challenged. Obviously, she was just trash-talking her victim, but she might as well have used Lance's full name. After all, he was having fun. Someone certainly had his number. Back to business, Michaela continued working over the resolutely receptive, shirtless guy. Eventually, she managed to floor him, a surprise kick to his kidneys, followed by a knee into the solar plexus and a hammering elbow to one temple. The camera soaked up her "oops, silly me" expression. A superior smirk replaced the cutesiness before the ill-timed fade to black. Those sans serifs returned to advertise "Babes That Bash" and some studio contact info. Lance claimed his cold espresso, and he replayed the video twice. From what he could tell, there'd been zero direction. She was a natural. At almost 7 minutes, it was easily twice the length a demo reel of its kind should have been. He could have watched it for an hour. Chapter 2. There is a profusion of honeysuckle and datura vines clustered over the backyard fence and climbing into the trees behind. Screened in, the yard is an intimate space. Baked by the sun overhead, starved of breeze by the dense vegetable enclosure, the air is tropical. Michaela Mendoza is stretching her hamstrings, alternating legs in lunge posture. She's just completed a round of gut crunches and push-ups. Long and lustrous swoops of deep mahogany hair fall free about her shoulders, changing hues in the sunlight, remaining mysteriously free of perspiration. Clean-shaven, rugged and muscular, her trainer watches from a post in the shade against the fence. He wears a snug t-shirt littered with logos and baggy gray sweatpants. He steps out barefoot to join Michaela under the glaring Florida sun. "Okay, ready? Let's see what you got. Just find your openings and try to mix things up. All strikes for now. We can look at your grappling later. Michaela paces back and forth a bit before closing the distance between them and taking her first shots. A combination of punches to head and body, a tentative roundhouse kick, all are effortlessly parried by the trainer. They continue, with Michaela steadily adding speed and force to her attacks. Some blows penetrate to the surface of the guy's face or torso before being evaded, deflected, swatted aside. 5 more minutes of this have Michaela in a sweat, and her trainer suggests they take a break. You want to hit me, right? Her deferential attitude slips a little, and a glare comes into her eyes. Yes, I want to hit you. It's okay to get pissed. You want to hit me, but do you want to hurt me? She hesitates before answering. No. I mean, we're training, right? Yeah, well, technically, you are training. We're trying to up your game, yes. But realistically, you need to work out one thing from the start. What do you mean? You need to feed your power. Feed my power. You can't fight me. You have to dominate me. Yeah, right. Okay, hold up and listen. This is show business. But even if it weren't, there is only one object for you in combat. Complete, unapologetic mastery of your opponent. No thinking they deserve a break anywhere short of complete and utter submission. No theoretical limits, nada. Understand? Instantaneously, the back of his fist is snug up against her lips. Michaela blinks. Otherwise, she hasn't moved. Her lips purse tightly inward, a slightly childlike expression of frustration. The glare comes back into her eyes. Their faces are inches apart. Now, do you want to hurt me? Yeah, I think I do. Don't think. Hurt me. Hurt me when I come at you. Hurt me if I'm walking away. When you're on the ground, when you're on top, I want you to hurt me just looking at me. Got it? Michaela looks away, just for a second, then looks straight back into his eyes. Yeah, I got it. All right, then, let's try it again. They circle each other on the dusty bit of lawn. Michaela sees less of her surroundings now. The flowering vines, the rear of the house with the busted lawn furniture and bags of garbage. It all fades, and her focus is complete upon her opponent's eyes and body. As she takes her shots this time, gradually, degree by degree, she works up her aggression, and the blows begin landing on their marks. 5 minutes later, the trainer is taking a flurry of her fists and feet full force. Michaela stops suddenly. Pretty feeble, huh? He looks her over, steps back, and smiles just a little. Nah, you're good. This is going to look great. Okay, little confession. When Dick told me I was going to work with the Edge, I was pretty damn psyched. I mean, when I was a little punk brawling with my brothers in the basement, the Edge on MMA channel, he was the shit. You were the shit. I totally wanted to fight for real. After a beat, Michaela looks off to the shuttered windows in the back of the house. Mixed martial arts. The hardcore fight game. Tactical and brutal. Brazilian jiu-jitsu mixed up with boxing, wrestling, and anything else you could bring to the ring short of weaponry. It was the Edge, elegantly bearded and lethally gifted, who had first exposed her to the beauty of battle. Sometimes I still want that. Sometimes, huh? Okay. Well, Dick didn't mention that. Because this is strictly entertainment, right? I didn't know you were thinking about competing. Yeah, I know. Stupid, huh? No? No. But you gotta be desperate to fight. Even if it's just for the camera. Michaela goes quiet, closes her eyes and tilts her face up to the sun. She looks back down to the sandy scrub at their feet. Her instructor does a little head duck, trying to catch her eye. So, what's up? Well, you don't hit back. I don't think they're going to call this fighting. Yeah, I see your point. Okay, well, I've only got this for you. I don't know if you can take care of yourself in the ring, but you give me your absolute best shot, and I'll give you my honest opinion. I don't know. Make it a combo. A good one. Something I'll still feel next week. Yeah, take your gloves off. Come and hurt me. I don't know if I can do that. The Edge smiles. When Michaela still doesn't respond to the invitation, he lets a little irony flavor his expression. Then he gives her a quick jab in the ribs. All right. But I'm keeping the gloves on. Don't want to bust up my knuckles. She smirks, snugging up the Velcro on the backs of her gloves. Circling now, Michaela sizes him up. He has his feet set apart, arms loose at his sides, shuffling around to remain facing her. Finally, Michaela plants her back foot and launches her right hand from the hip. The punch comes fast and surprisingly hard. The Edge doesn't flinch. She's put her leather-gloved knuckles squarely on his jaw with a good couple of inches left in her reach. As his head twitches to the left, Michaela pushes in close and, rising onto her toes, brings her left elbow across, savagely reversing the blow. 2 shots in 2 seconds. He takes a little step to the side, regaining his balance. Michaela has split the Edge's lip. Blood seeps over the orange plastic mouth protector when he smiles. Wow, so that's what it feels like. I always wanted to paste someone a good one. Well, get used to it, I guess, right? I had a feeling you were holding out on me. That was better. Shit, now I'm gonna blush. Well, don't take this wrong, but I know. Don't quit your day job or anything, right? I'd have to see some footwork, clinching, wrestling, submission moves. Make sure you've got some survival instincts. Okay, I get it. There's a reason MMA fighters don't have your nice smooth lines. They're ripped because they live in that cage, and they definitely want to hurt you. Even if we could get some real heat into your shots, work on your movement and grappling, some of those gals are vicious. You could lose your good looks pretty fast. Suppose I should take that for a compliment. The half gloves she wears leave Michaela's fingers naked from the second knuckles down. With the tip of her right thumb, she touches the corner of the Edge's mouth where the trickle of blood has oozed out. With a quizzical expression, she holds the thumb up between them for inspection, then wipes the blood off onto his chin. Oh, and quit worrying about my feelings, okay? You don't remember me asking you to hit back, do you? I'm okay with this setup, especially if there's money in it, and I can learn a little from the Edge while we're at it. Chapter 3. Darkly pearlescent under the midday sun, the Panamera slides to a smooth halt across the street from a decrepit bungalow with a scrubby patch of unfenced front lawn. Under a porch awning, Michaela and the Edge have been sitting silent in the swelter for a good 10 minutes. Now they exchange looks. Is this Providence, or something evil come to pass? In this neighborhood, a gleaming black late-model Porsche looks like expensive trouble, like some modern-day Grim Reaper's conveyance. Their thoughts go to the house's tenant, Dick, their collaborator, manager, or misguided fool. The jury's still out. Maybe Dick has won the lottery. More likely this is a big-time coke dealer come to collect a debt. That would not be good. Where the hell is Dick, anyway? They've been waiting out here in this heat for too damn long. A guy climbs out of the car. Open-collared, white shirt gleaming from within his unbuttoned black sports jacket. Michaela mugs under her breath. Bond. James Bond. If you didn't know your automotive brands and vintages, the Edge thinks, you could mistake that Panamera for 007's Aston Martin. Michaela watches the smiling stranger move, strangely familiar, across the street and up the little path toward them. He's smiling directly into her eyes, and she makes the connection. Same height, weight, hair length and color, even the athletic way of carrying themselves. The stranger could be Pierce Brosnan to the Edge's Andrew Craig. There really isn't that much between them. The stranger simply doesn't get roughed up. Life hasn't bent his sharp lines, dented that smile, or dulled the twinkle in his impertinent eyes. Of course, this Brosnan bond is also distinguished by patent leather shoes and a pair of classic Persol shades he's removed now and dangles casually between two well-ringed fingers. He's made it most of the way up the walk before greeting them with an even wider smile and an affable nod of the head. "Hey, hey, now there's my rock star." At this, Michaela and the Edge exchange another glance. "And the Man of Steel in the flesh. I gotta tell you, too, straight up, I'm a big, big fan." The Edge is up and on his way through the screen door in one smooth movement. "I'm sure Dick'll be glad to hear we've got a visitor." The visitor has one well-shod foot up on the porch now, but remains standing below, his eyes and Michaela's at a level. He leans toward her and rushes out a little speech, only slightly hushed. "Fuck Dick. Dick sucks. Between you and me, oh, shit. Forget it. I'm sorry. Pardon the language. I've never been any good with jokes. It's just he doesn't have a plan. For you, You deserve a plan. A really grand plan." Despite this guy's suave appearance and obvious wealth, Michaela could swear he's gushing, like the desperate boys did in the technical college she went to, the ones who hadn't managed to lose their cherries yet. "Well, maybe I like Dick." "Well, nothing funny about that. I just wanted to get my cards up front with you." He leans up a little closer, still only one foot on the porch, one forearm rested on that knee. He grins a conspiratorial grin. "Because, I can't work with Dick. I just don't respect him." Despite the repugnance she herself sometimes feels, Michaela considers pretending some old-school loyalty. Dick can be a dick, but he is her, manager? Before she can bait the handsome stranger with some attitude about it, Dick bangs through the flimsy screen door with the Edge in tow. "Lance, how's it going, buddy?" He leans in close to Abiarte's ear. "Watch out now, she can be a bit of a ball-buster." The cheeky smile the kid is wearing when he leans out again makes Lance want to punch him. "Guys, this is Lance Abiarte. Lance is a producer. New York, Miami, LA, right, Lance?" "That's it, Dick. Just got back from selling a show in Toronto, actually." Dick frowns momentarily, then smiles. "Toronto buys shows. Who knew?" Michaela reddens a little. "It's a city in Canada, Dick." "So what brings you to fascinating Fort Pierce, Florida, Lance Abiarte?" "Well, mostly you, Michaela. What you guys are doing here is very cool. Niche entertainment is blowing up soon, and you guys are something special even on the fringe. Lance wants to help us make some bumpin' vids. He's going to get some hotshot cameraman up here to work with us and everything." "What about Joey?" "That little weasel empties the icebox every time we shoot here." "Frankly, Michaela, he's not much good with the action or lighting either." The producer shrugs, almost apologetically. Michaela is up off the swing, bouncing around now, clenching her fists and generally menacing some imaginary opponent fallen before her. "Okay, so here's the little guy on the ground." She indicates a spot at her feet. "Now, do we kick him while he's down? Poor little Joey? Little smoke-bumming, beer-stealing, never got any money Joey?" I'm sure he's got a lot of humanity, your Joey, but it's just he can't really..." Michaela lunges for Lance Abiarte. It's a feint, but it's enough to make him flinch. "I'm just messing with you. I probably would kick the little runt. Always giving me the creeps. And if it were my boy here, he'd definitely get a little kick in the teeth, wouldn't you, sweetums?" Lance has followed the affectionate glance she's thrown toward the Edge, where he remains in the doorway. Catching up with what Michaela is talking about, Dick jokingly interjects. "Just don't kick Lance here, Kayla." "Why? Are you some kind of alpha producer man, Lance Abiarte?" Obviously enjoying herself now, Michaela is bouncing in place on the balls of her feet, throwing a few rapid punches in Abiarte's direction. "Come on, Edgy. I need to loosen up a little. I can feel a good beating coming on. With one hand on the back of the Edge's head, Michaela steers him off the porch towards a ramshackle garage balanced on the edge of the property. She bats her eyes over her shoulder at Abbiati, where he remains half on, half off the porch, smiling, smitten.